Hey, it's Inigo here and welcome to my channel. So today I'm making a video which will be useful for people at the start of their Finnish learning journey. This is something that will probably be useful, especially once you've started to touch on grammar. So maybe, for example, you've already learned quite a lot of vocabulary and now you're starting to try and figure out how to put that vocabulary together and make sentences. This is a kind of a perfect lesson for you to start putting things together, and this I would say really helped me start to think about how to put things together in Finnish. So in this lesson what we're focusing on is prepositions, and that basically refers to movement from somewhere to somewhere, being at a place, on a place, by a place. It's kind of referring to movement sort of around places or areas, let's say. So I made a video about this not too long ago. It was fine, the video was fine, the principles were okay, but I made a couple of mistakes. So I'm going to try and do this again and make sure there's no mistakes. And also my understanding of Finnish is a little bit better now, so hopefully I can produce a video that's even more helpful to people at the beginning of their journey. So anyway, let's begin. So with prepositions, there are 6 different questions that are key to this lesson. You can divide these questions into 2 groups. So I would say there's an S group and an L group. The S group, other than one of the 3, have S in the end, and the L group, all of them have an L in the ending. So the S group has an S, obviously, and the L group has an L. And that will help you differentiate between the 2, other than one of these questions, but essentially you just have to learn that, okay, there's 6 and there's 3 in one group, 3 in the other. If 3 of them have L's, then the other 3 must be in the S group, just by default. So the first question, I'll start with the S group. The first question for prepositions that I'll start with is Missä. Missä. And Missä basically means like inside of what. And the S group, for context, the S group typically refers to being in an enclosed space, an enclosed area. The L group typically refers to an open space, a flat space, an open area. So that will help you differentiate between these 2 groups. Okay. So missä means being like inside of something or in something. It could be something tangible, like I don't know, like I could be in this video, I'm in this video right now, so that would apply to the video, but I'm also in a house. So it could be something that's like kind of concrete and physical. It could also be something that's a bit less tangible. So it means being in something, and an example question could be Missä sinä olet? Missä sinä olet? So Missä sinä olet means where are you? Missä, inside of what? Sinä, you, olet, are. Missä sinä olet? I could answer minä olen talo. I'm in a talo, in a house. Minä olen talossa. Minä olen talossa. Minä olen talossa. So missä sinä olet? Minä olen talossa. Missä? Talossa. And you can probably follow from the question and the answer that the ending of the question and the ending of the answer is connected, so they both have the same kind of ending. And in Finnish, you will probably start to find, if you haven't already, you might be more advanced than me even, so you've probably already figured this out yourself. But if you're early on in your journey, what it's useful to know is that questions in the Finnish language are very much connected to the answer, the ending of the answer. So the ending of the question and the ending of the answer should be related, and they should kind of indicate what type of answer is being asked for. So if you're not quite sure what someone's asking you about, just try and focus on the ending of the word that they're using to ask a question. So, missä sinä olet? Minä olen talossa. Minä olen talossa. Missä talossa? Missä talossa? That one's quite simple. Then the next one is mistä. Mistä. So we had missä, which is like inside of something, to be inside of something. Mistä means to come from something, and more specifically kind of inside of something. So mistä sinä tulit? Mistä sinä tulit? From inside of where did you come? I could say minä tulin talosta. Talosta. Mistä talosta? Mistä talosta? And again, the ending of the question is connected to the ending of the answer. So we had missä talossa, mistä talosta. So these two are fairly simple and follow the rules very nicely. And in that aspect, well done, the Finnish language. That's really nice. The next one messes that up a little bit, but you'll get it. If you don't know this already, you'll get it. So the next question is mihin, which means kind of inside of where. It's kind of going to, inside, going to, mihin. So mihin sinä menet? Mihin sinä menet? So like inside of where, or into where are you going, basically. So mennä is to go. Mihin sinä menet? Mihin sinä menet? Minä menen taloon. Minä menen taloon. So again, we're using a house as an example. Talo. Minä menen taloon. With the question mihin, you can see at the end of mihin that you have a vowel in I and then a consonant in N. So mihin. And what I like to think about when I'm thinking about this question and how that translates to the answer is you're going to add another vowel and an N to the end of the place. So I have talo and I turn it into talon. Now, to find out which vowel you're going to use to add on to the end of talo, you just use the exact same vowel that is at the end of the word and double it and then add an L. So minä menen taloon. Mihin sinä menet? Minä menen taloon. Okay, so it's not too difficult to understand. It's kind of easy to put that together. But if you're new to it, it's basically just about trying to learn how all of these work and understanding the questions. So that's an example if a word ends in one vowel. If a word ends in two vowels, there are two different routes that it could go. So the first example is if you have two vowels which are the same. In this example, I'll use a place in Finland called Espoo. So there's a place in Finland called Espoo. If we use the rule that I've already given to you, we would have to add a third vowel and then an N, which is a bit, there has to be a limit, right? You can't just add unlimited amounts of vowels. So if I'm going to Espoo, instead of saying Espoon, I'm going to say minä menen Espooseen. Espooseen. So if you have two vowels at the end which are the same, then typically you're going to have a seen that goes onto the end. So minä menen Espooseen. That one is harder to remember, but it's quite easy to me. The other alternative option is if you have two vowels at the end of a word, but those two vowels are different. And this is called a diphthongy. So an example that I will use is Shanghai. So Shanghai ends in two vowels, which are different. But the good thing is with mihin, the ending of mihin now goes on to the end of the word. So Mihin sinä menet? Minä menen Shanghaihin. So mihin? Shanghaihin. So in that example, it follows the rule very nicely, and that should be all of the S questions covered now. The other set of questions is the L set of questions, and as I said, these typically refer to flat, open-spaced areas. The rules don't apply all the time, like as you would expect. So, like for example, a station uses the L set of questions, but if you were talking about like a asema, which is a train station, in my mind that's a closed space, but asema is always going to be using the L. And an example with the S is a puisto, which is a park. Puisto uses the S questions and the S answers. So you would say puistossa, even though to me, and maybe to you as well, a park seems like a flat open space. In this example, a puisto uses the rules which apply to... I've probably said that wrong. So the rules for puisto follow the rules for an enclosed space. So puisto follows the rules for an enclosed space, even though a puisto or a park is an open area, maybe even a flat surface. Okay, so the rules don't always follow correctly, but if we move over to the L set of questions and answers, the first question is Millä, and again, if we're thinking about a flat surface or an open area, I'm going to use gatu, which is a street. Okay, so Millä kadulla sinä olet? So it's kind of like by which or on which street are you? Millä kadulla sinä olet? I could say minä olen Alexanderin kadulla. Minä olen Alexanderin kadulla. Okay, so that means I am on Alexander's street. Okay, I am on Alexander's street, and the word for street is gatu. And when you conjugate the word gatu, you have to use a rule which is called go-pete vaittelu, which basically means very hard consonants, go, be, or de. Those have to change to softer consonants, or sometimes even disappear completely. So in this example, gatu turns into gadu, and then you put on the ending, so kadulla. Okay, so kadulla. I'm on Alexanderin kadulla. Okay, so the basic question is Millä, and the ending and the answer is kadulla. There are lots of context that I added to that question to make it a little bit more realistic, but the basic question is Millä, and the answer is kadulla. Now you could say a next question, which is Mille, and that is to go towards, again, kind of like Mihin, or actually I'll do Miltä, because then it follows with how I did the S side. So Miltä would refer to coming from a place. So Miltä kadulta sinä tulit? So that would be from which street did you come? Minä tulin Alexanderin kadulta. Minä tulin Alexanderin kadulta. Okay, so the question was Miltä, and the ending was kadulta. So again, you can kind of see that the ending of the question has a connection with the ending of the answer. So we had Millä kadulla, Miltä kadulta. The last one is Mille, which is going towards a flat or open space. Mille kadulla sinä menet? Mille kadulla... no, it wouldn't... Mille kadulla. Sorry, I'm still not perfect at Finnish, but Mille kadulla sinä menet. So that would be kind of, to which street are you going? I could say minä menen Alexanderin kadulle. Minä menen Alexanderin kadulle. So the question is Millä, and the answer is kadulle. So to go to somewhere is Millä, the question, and the answer is, again, it's going to end in le. If I'm saying I'm on a flat surface, it's Millä, and the ending of my answer will have a l. And if the question is Miltä, the ending of my answer will also be ilta. Okay, so hopefully that helps to kind of understand in Finnish these basic concepts which help you start to create sentences using movement. And this is very important in the Finnish language to learn. It will really help you progress in your Finnish. In the previous video that I made about this topic, I used the example of kaapi, which is a cupboard. And a cupboard is useful because with a kaapi, you can say something is inside of a kaapi, which is kaapissa, kaapissa, or you can say something is on the cupboard, kaapilla, kaapilla. So one object can have multiple different answers, and based on how you answer or ask the question, that already kind of gives context. So if I said something was kaapista, that's from inside of the cupboard. If I said something is kaapilta, that's kind of from by the cupboard or on top of the cupboard. And I should also say that with the L type of questions and answers, as much as it can be on something or by something, like it can also sort of refer to like being in the area. So in English, if I said I'm going to school, I don't necessarily explain whether I'm going to go inside of the school, am I going to go inside of a building, or am I going to go to kind of the area, like maybe the front of the school and wait for a child, for example, or a friend, okay? In Finnish, you can actually use the language to say whether you're going inside of the school or if you're going like to the area, okay? So based on whether you use the S questions and answers or the L questions and answers, that will give more context to how you're talking. So hopefully that's kind of useful and helpful, and I hope I haven't made any mistakes in the video, although of course if I have, then feel free to let me know, and maybe I'll have to make the video a third time. But if anything isn't clear from the video and you'd like some help, then definitely ask a question in the comments, and either I or I'm sure someone else will help you with a question. But that is the basic principle around prepositions in the Finnish language. I hope it's been helpful. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.